You have to figure out like how to set this up with your new duo or whatever, right? You need to figure out like 3, 2, 1. Number one thing, look at what Malibuca just did. What did he do? Did you see him? Let's watch it back. I want you to name it for me. What did he do? Let's watch it back one more time. And then what does he do right here?
He waits for him. Make sure he's in line of time.
Yeah. And so often people are like, how do I make sure my teammate can see the enemy? First of all, have your teammates stand really close to you. And so if you notice, like the whole time when they were walking here, they were standing very close to each other. And then if you notice in your VOD view, you were right here, and then your teammate was like over there. And actually, there was a whole river splitting you apart. So to make a more accurate example, one guy was here and the one guy was here. And so that should never happen, ever, right? Because if you ever have an opportunity randomly that you can go for a beam and get some surge, you won't be ready for it. And if they're trying to do the same thing to you, then it's just over, right? Guys, before today's video starts, if you want to support the creator on your screen right now so I can continue to post free valuable content on YouTube, then check out the first links in the description. The first one offers one-on-one private coaching with myself, where you can get better at Fortnite at a rapid rate and learn what your mistakes are from a professional. And the second link offers a esports grade mouse from oneclickmouse.com. This is my very own gaming brand that I've actually created myself. And if you want a high quality mouse, but at an affordable price, you could buy the Aspire Pro to use, to compete, to practice, to play tournaments. And I really think that this is something that you guys will like. So check out oneclickmouse.com. And now back to the video. That's the first thing. Number two, he looks back to make sure Thomas is actually on top of the rock, so that Thomas actually has an angle, right? Of course you can ask him, but you can also just look back and not have to cloud comms, right? You can just like make sure that he has the same angle as you. So he quickly just looks back and makes sure that Thomas has the same angle, and that's how he knows he has that sight line. And then you can say 3, 2, 1. A lot of people come up with these like complex systems in the comms where like, yo, like I'm ready, are you ready? I'm ready. Okay, 3, 2. Like screw that, just look at him and then 3, 2, 1. It should be clean, it should be collected, and it should just be calm. And I think a lot of people try to overcomplicate this process. Just stand really close to each other, because the problem is if Thomas is like over here, let's say, you see how he doesn't see him anymore? It's like, don't stand this far apart. If you stand right next to him, the chances of you seeing him also is very high, because like it's the same line of sight, right? And so they just get a huge amount of damage. Hammer closes the distance. Malibuca is not going to jump in immediately. I think diagonal box fighting this wall right here would be beautiful, and the reason why this wall is better than this wall is because if you diagonal box fight this wall, then you're gonna be in danger of getting edited here. So you're gonna space yourself here and try to take this wall, unless they're both gonna play in this box. At that point you can claim this wall and then diagonal box fight around to the right. Let's see what he does. Okay, this is scary because of this wall, but he's opting for some speed. And also, if you notice, no one's in this pile. Someone should honestly just double edit out on him right here. Oh, that was very close. Gets shot from the left. The way he solved that isn't to build. He just hides himself using the enemy walls. He gets deeper. They're opting for the speed of trying to end this fight quickly. Good. That's the surge. So the whole idea that I've been talking about with split drops, especially with split drops where you're most likely on con, at least on con in the area that you land at, is the one realization that you need to have with split drops is you're not going to have easy surge. If you landed a POI like this one, the one you're landing at, there's 3 people contesting you, and that is easy surge, right? But in the split drop, you have to do something bold, right? So they're going to do this play. They're going to probably head back. Maybe let's see what they choose to do, but they really do need metal now, so they're gonna need to solve that somehow. So let's see how they do it. So instead of just farming till max, right, farming till max metal, max brick, max wood, max loot, and then going for surge, they go for the surge earlier for one reason. It's much easier to kill someone that doesn't have max mats. And so if they're trying to go for a 2v2, it's better to take it now than fall back and get the rest of your loot, because again, this is a very out of place corner of the map. Like no one's gonna take your loot if you leave half of it, and especially the mats, right? So like go kill someone, come back, get it. And I mean, let's see how they all fix their metal, because their metal's not fixed right now. Maybe they opt to head back, but another team pulls up. Mini pops big. You asked me yesterday, right? Should you hold double minis? I think you should. They're doing it, right? Obviously, they don't have many options, but I think I've seen a lot of duos do this. Like, ideal situation is to have double minis and then as many splashes as possible. That's really the best loadout. And if you don't have splashes, then you hold bigs. If you don't have bigs, then you hold kegs.
You reckon if you come to OC, you would qual?
If I would qual to what? The elite?
See. Just like to most things.
If I had a duo at my own skill level, and also you gave me at least 1 or 2 months to practice, then yeah, for sure. The biggest thing is like I need time to get back mechanically, because again, I don't play the game often. So like if you give me that, then sure. If you ask me now, no. But if you give me some prep time, then yeah, definitely. One just shot at them again. They're solving the metal after, and like they go back, which is exactly what I said. And again, I haven't seen this VOD before. This is just the best thing to do. And it's like, especially when you play corner of the map, the logic is like, you just cleared this area. You know no one's going to be here. So you can kind of head back. The only time that someone's going to be here is if like these guys disengage and rotate here. But like, why would they do that? They have all the metal over there. If they're running from an off-spawn fight and they leave, then sure.
I should have better shit than them.
So they hold red eye and scar, but if they see an SMG, I wonder if they're going to pick it up. And then go back all the way, fix the metal. Again, and so you could argue that their surge is completely solved. They have 500, 600 surge, agreed? I would say they have about 500 if I had to put a number on it. Because 2 full HP guys, and I think they went for the finish as well.
Yeah, and they got damage on the body.
Yeah, if I remember. Full dead side rotate, like I said before. You remember what I said yesterday? If you have the surge solved, like if you get it early, then you are allowed to do this dead side rotate. You can do it all the way and come out here. Right, that's the idea, and I think they're gonna do that. They're literally gonna take the time to go all the way around. They have a med mist, and they're probably gonna find more whites on the way. Like if you go to any POI, again, whites are a low value heal, right? So a lot of people are not gonna pick them up. They're gonna leave them on the ground when they come out of chest. So if you just go to any POI, you'll just find whites, like for sure. If they need whites, they'll just come out and find some fishing rod. So if you remember in chapter 2, there was a route that you could take from Grotto, which was on this side above retail, and you could take the route from here all the way down and then rotate around. You could do, because the reason why is there's a bunch of fishing rods on the south border, and you could use those to, Tifo did this a lot actually back when he played competitive in chapter 2. You just pick up a fishing rod, fish out some holes, pop flops, and then go, and then you just repeat. Unfortunately, he just rocketed himself. And so like think about this, like if they just get 100 tags, can they do this? Yes or no? They're not allowed to. Yeah, they're not allowed to. And I mean, who's stopping them? The game's stopping them. It will kill them. The surge will kill them, right? And so the idea is they solve their surge first. They do it early. They don't procrastinate on it. They just take a fight. And of course, you know, this is why I say fighting is important, because it allows you to create options for yourself like this, right? So if you practice your fighting, there will be options that you're allowed to take that you were previously not allowed to take, because before you would just die in that fight or grief yourself. But because they are really good at the 3-2-1, they're really good at following up. They understand that, you know, you should use a chance to charge the hammer to like close the gap super quick so they don't heal up quickly or splash or make 6 metal boxes, and then they aggress. You see how Malibuca opts to, like, even though he had a wall to his left, because he understands that both people are in the same box, he kind of ignores the fact that he should take that wall and just goes for the wall on the right anyways. Like there's all these little things that give him speed in taking that fight, and I think those are the important things in fighting that a lot of people neglect, is like the decision making. It's not just the mechanics. Like if you look at Malibuca and ThomasHD, they don't do anything flashy in the fight. They just take the fight and do it properly, you know. Second hammer, man missed. Yeah, gonna go up here again. Full dead side rotate. They probably have forecasts. Who knows? I really couldn't tell you.
450 above.
Yep, 450 above, and that's why they're allowed to do this. And one thing I have to mention is surge lobbies. Dead side is extremely strong. In surge lobbies, dead side is even stronger than non-surge lobbies, and the reason for that is most people don't have surge. Most people don't have enough surge, and so if you don't have enough surge, they're gonna play on the congested side because they need tags, right? And now if you look where they are, they're literally all the way out here. And one thing that you have to remember is not just the fact that they're dead side now. Let's say, okay, give me a zone. In this zone right here, give me any zone. Left, top, bottom, right, middle. Okay, would you agree, where are these people if they're in the towers, right? You can imagine this is a large castle, right? In this large castle, where are most people going to be looking in terms of a direction for surge?
In the middle?
Yeah,
bottom?
yeah, these guys right here, where I'm circling my mouse. If you had to pick a direction that they're most likely going to look in order to get surge, where would they look? Mid? That doesn't make sense.
Middle.
Like middle where? Like towards the middle of the map?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. And why is that?
Is that gonna come in?
Yes, exactly. It's a very simple concept, right? If you had to pick a direction from relative to these guys, right? I mean, the way I would have said it was like to the right, right? But like, I understand what you're saying. So like middle of the map, like coming from here, makes sense, right? And the idea is like, they're gonna look that way because that's where most people are coming from. And they're right. Most people are coming from that direction, right? And they have to come in, right? And that's a good direction for them to look in. Obviously, they're gonna look in most directions. And also, you recognize, like, let's say I'm where my mouse is. Like, this is where my duo is. I now have a team behind me that's coming in, so I'm pressured there. 2 teams on my right, a team to my top left, right? Like, it's difficult. It is a difficult rotate. Most likely when I get in here, I'm probably stuck because these 2 teams are going to be based right above me, and then this team's coming in behind me. And I can't move forward because these 2 teams are boxed as well. Because of the pressure coming from here, they can't move forward because these guys can't move forward because of these guys. You see how there's like a whole traffic jam? And so the idea is, would you agree that rotating from my mouse right here, so like, let's say Cammy and Seti, it's them right here, right? Where my mouse is, this is them on the bottom left, right? These arrows. It is actually, even if in the worst case scenario, zone pulls here, you would agree that's the worst case scenario. They still have an easy time. They genuinely still have an easy time. And the reason for that is because they're on dead side, right? So dead side is not just you have a currently easy position. All the rotates following up, no matter where the zone pulls, whether it pulls middle, whether it pulls top, bottom, it is going to be an easy rotate, right? And the reason is there's no traffic jam. There's less people on your side, and so because there's no traffic jam, you're gonna have a really easy rotate because obviously there's a couple people, but it doesn't compare to 5-6 teams coming out of here, and these guys are gonna come in on Anvil Square. There's already a team here. It's a really difficult situation, right? Obviously there happens to be a lucky path like through here, but you can't know that in game. It's just lucky. So yeah, I would just say like just watch out for that. Like if you just are forced to go to congested side because you were very inefficient with your time because of the looting, for example, if you loot very, very inefficiently, you're going to spend all your time at your POI instead of rotating, and then because you rotated late, you're going to be stuck in a situation like this. Your game's over before it even started. Now there's still, you know, if you're a pro team on this side, there's still stuff you could do, but everyone can agree that Cammy and Teddy have an easier time than a team over here, and the reason for that is because your rotates are easy, even in the worst case scenario. If zone pulls here, you can actually rotate very, very easily. My personal opinion, there's a huge benefit to solving your surge early, which is why it extends. Like even though there's a lot of teams that I coach that don't go into lobbies with surge, I still tell them like there is a way for them, for example, in contenders to just qual without fighting a single person, right? But the reason I still tell them that fighting's important is because let's say they qual from let's say they get really good at the macro or the game sense of scrim or tournaments, right? Like rotating, playing in a bush, and just chilling because placement's important, etc., etc. If they get to challenges, surge will be important. And in order to solve surge, sometimes it's not just aiming, it's not just tagging people from far, it's taking a fight, winning it, getting 500 surge, and then realizing that 500 surge gives you the ability to just play dead side. In that regard, Cammy and Teddy are chilling. Yeah, they have nothing to do. And if they have forecasts here, I think maybe zone pulls this side, but who knows? Like they are just AFK. And like this is a round 2 game. Like it's supposed to be hard. Yeah, so now what would I do? Rotate like this. Find the new dead side right here. Let's see what they choose to do. We could sneak up on this team and kill them too. And easy beam, 3-2-1, perfect. Let's go slow that down because that was very interesting. Double hammer up, potentially look for a kill. And one thing I will mention is if after aggressing them on the box fight, it doesn't work out too well or things happen to be going badly, you just disengage. You always have the option, right? Yeah. So that's one thing to remember. It's like, don't just commit to the fight because you started it. Like no one's telling you have to finish it. You know what I mean? No one's telling you that you have to, like, once you engage into a fight, you have to kill them. No, you can leave. You're totally allowed to leave. Really good red eye beam. They're both holding red eyes now. He wants the mountain, and the mountain's really good for several reasons. If you want surge, if there's more surge, because maybe this lobby's really difficult and they need more than 500 surge later on, right? Again, it's all about looking ahead as an IGL, right? You need to be able to tell whether you need surge like later. And so if they're worried about moving surge, then taking this hill is a very, very big deal. So they're fighting them for the position more than anything. If these guys leave, I honestly think they'll leave them alone, most likely. But these guys seem to be contesting this hill. A lot of their mats are being wasted. Hopefully they get the skill. Not aggressing too hard on top of the build. This play was a little crazy, I'm not gonna lie. But again, if they recognize that they need surge, then this makes a lot of sense. They have double red eye, and I think there's a reason for that. They realize that 500 surge is not enough for moving zones, and so they need a few more tags for later. And that's why they're here. But you know what I just realized, by the way? Did you realize the same thing that I did, or no?
Kids below them?
No. Who are we monitoring at the beginning?
Malibuca.
Yeah, they're over there.
I was gonna say that before, but I was like, maybe he's trying to show something.
No, wait, what? I'm so confused. Wait, oh, I know what it was. I think I clicked someone later. That was bad. Oh, you know what? Yeah. I know what happened. Okay, let's continue watching them. That's so funny.
That's a free hour there.
No, that's funny. Yeah, we were watching them, and then somehow I was like, wait, how did they get here so fast? Because they're over here. All right, let's continue watching them. Let's go back in time. There's a reason why they're playing aggressive with double red eye because they may not have surge, right? So it's a whole different story. But these guys obviously have surge. However, I do think that if you have 500 surge, that's not necessarily solving moving surge in EU, right? Moving surge may be very high, but you still need tags. Just like you got a good head start on 500. The biggest thing you need to get better at is fighting, because if you get better at fighting, don't you agree you could do the same strategy from here? You have a boat. You could literally do the same strategy if it pulls far.
So just grind solo arena 2v2s.
Grind the game. Yes, grind the game. Get better at fighting because it'll open options for you. And fighting as in like focus on your beams with your duo. And yes, get better at solo arena. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, they showed up exactly where Kevin said he were. There's that. Like, Kevin said he's up here.
They did the same rotate.
Yeah, they ended up in the same spot. Like, it shows like the pros have the same idea. It's crazy, right? And I'm sure these guys have surge. Like, maybe not as much as Malibuca and Thomas. But okay, so they opted. So one thing I want to mention, right? We all know about center third. They rotated from that side. You saw how free it was, right? They like literally walked in. Like, no one stopped them. And again, it's the same reason. Like, no one in this castle is looking their way. Guys are not even looking back here. Again, it's like, who cares, right? Who cares about people back here? There's not that many. And so if you're looking back here, you're not going to get that much surge. So guys get a free rotate. They opt to go deeper. You know why? Instead of just basing here. Like, why not just base on this rock? Why base over there? Like, they could have, you know?
Because it's zone pulls away from them, and then the hype team sees them and knows far back.
I think it's simpler than that. Think about it this way. Okay? Surge solved versus Surge unsolved. Okay? 2 scenarios. I'm gonna give you this. Okay? Do you agree that Surge unsolved restricts their movement in a way where you have to grieve your positioning? In the name of Surge. What I mean by that is like sometimes you have to play congested side and have a little bit of a more difficult rotate just so you can get some tags. Does that make sense? Or you have to be in a mountain. Like you would love to just like get off that mountain, just go center third, but you couldn't because you need Surge. And so because they have Surge solved already and they have 500 damage, right? And although this may not be solved fully, like maybe in moving, let's say in moving they need 700, but getting 200 with natural like tags, like just like even on low ground or whatever, in third, fourth, fifth, and half zone, really easy if you have like a lot of time to do it. And they have 4 whole zones to do it, so like I think they can get the rest of the damage pretty easy. They're so far ahead that I don't think they're worried about it, and clearly they don't. And so in unsolved or when you have Surge solved or the lobby doesn't have Surge, okay, what you want to do is very simple. Very simple. Your goal is to get center zone in the least amount that's possible. One thing I will mention is obviously changes, right? Obviously, ideally. Now, the reason why a lot of people just don't go center is sometimes, right? Sometimes center costs way too many max / heals to get there, and so you settle in the name of max conservation, right? Let's switch positions for a second. Let's say I'm like one of the teams on contested, right? I would love to be in the castle, but because my fight off spawn was really long, I couldn't make it to the castle, and so I'm just gonna box. I don't know, like here. Like think about it this way. And these guys honestly, like before the zone started like walking here, they have a hard rotate, and so they're just gonna do a little bit more carefully, right? They're gonna try to get in, and even when they get in, they're gonna have a really hard time getting center. They can't really get over here, bro. It's impossible. They're gonna die, or they're gonna spend all their max getting here, and when they finally make it here, it's gonna be, you know, 20 builds left. Not worth it because of how difficult that rotated. And so for them, think about it this way. Like basing here doesn't make sense when you literally have a free rotate. Like if you just look forward, only team you need to worry about is them. That's it, right? And so because it's a relatively free rotate, and again, people overcomplicate this. People ask me this question: should I play edge or center? Right? And I ask them, I'm like, is it a Surge lobby or a non-Surge lobby? And they're like, no, there's no Surge. I'm like, what? And the answer is it's actually much easier. You would love to go center, but edge is more of like a compromise. Like, oh, I couldn't make it to center, or it's gonna cost me too many mats, so I'm just gonna stay here because I can clearly tell if I look forward, there's like 2 or 3 teams holding me, and so I'm gonna wait for the next zone to show so that pressure is relieved some. Does that make sense? And so in a Surge lobby, obviously this is a more complicated question, and you're gonna try to bring yourself to get more Surge. You're gonna try to grief it, but the benefit of having that early fight and solving your Surge very early, like Malibuca and Thomas did, is so that you can literally just play normally and no one's dictating you. There's no like Surge factor that you have to worry about. You can just play normally. You can just go dead side like you would want to. You can just rotate in from dead side and get to center third like you want to, and this is how they play. And so the idea is there's no reason to just stay here. Center's really free rotate, and so they just go center. They do it. Very simple. They're gonna pull it up here. But like summarize very quickly. Go center when possible, and if there's something stopping you, like someone holding you, or the power, this invisible force of Surge. The invisible force of Surge is telling you, hey, you can't go there because if you go there, you're gonna die because there's no tags over there. You actually have to get tags here first, and then you can go center if you solve Surge. If either of those factors are stopping you from going center, then don't go center. Otherwise, you go center. Your default should be try to go center unless something's stopping you. They pulled, and in this case, should they go center?
Can I have a look at map? Where are they?
Look at from their POV. They're right here. Right? You see the mini map on the bottom right, right?
What?
I can open up it like on the camera. Should they go center?
No, because there's so many teams there.
Good, yeah.
And then they go through a big hill.
This is a free rotate. Yes, they're in, right? Yes, they're on over here. And now if you ask yourself, is it a free rotate? Not even close. You walk into this river, this is no man's land. There's a reason why there's no one here. You will die from them, this team maybe, right? Like there's so many angles, and so it's in your best interest. Even if half is on the other side, it's your best interest to rotate later.
And they have hammers too, so.
Exactly, and so they have the failsafe of like, okay, if zone pulls max worst case scenario, I still have a right, so you don't need to solve it now.
They don't have forecast, they just wait, they can see next zone, then they teleport.
Yep. A little trick with the Jellyfish, by the way, is if you get the Jellyfish augment, don't select it right away unless you absolutely need it right now. You can just save it in your augment, and then when you need it, you can pick it up. A little trick right there. A little overkill. You can't hold all of it. Let's say no, they have forecast that. That's probably why.
They're getting it to the Surge.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah, they were below.
Yeah, maybe it's because they're gonna be below.
They're full 50-50.
No, but like still. But yeah, I mean, I guess you have nothing better to do.
Full 50-50 too, so for trading.
I think they're gonna trade for Surge, and if they get a bunch of damage on someone, then they could just go down there, pop 10 Jellyfish, and then take the fight again on the same team that is already low because the odds are good. Okay, let's watch that back. Well, what's the mistake the enemy make? I want you to spot it out here, okay?
Jumping in the box.
Yes. Okay. So if this guy wants to aggress on Malibuca, if he really wants to, he shouldn't even open the left wall. He should get rid of his stair, get rid of this wall, make sure it says, and then angle on here. Much better. Right? This guy has a beautiful angle. And also the movement is just off. Cannot step into this tile. It is wrong. You can't, because it's not your wall, right? So diagonal box writing dictates that if it's not your wall, you shouldn't be stepping into the adjacent tile north, south, east, west, right? Of the tile of the walls that of your enemy, right? The enemy wall, you can't step here. This is the enemy wall, you can't step here. You should try to take the walls from this angle, and even then you're not entirely safe. Guy just said he's trying to get the second kill, but again, I don't think they need it, so they're just gonna commit to this. So Jellyfish is a good strategy for like Surge, but I think there's several alternative reasons for why they did it. Like, yes, if Surge pops and they're gonna get zapped, then it will help, but it's not a fail-proof solution. Meaning, if while you're popping it, someone hears you getting zapped, okay, and Surge happens to last a lot longer than you think it would. Like, maybe it lasts like 30 seconds and no one's dying for some reason. If someone hears you getting zapped and they see one of you guys is committed to holding Jellyfish and popping them, wouldn't they fight you? Because it's a 2v1.
Yeah.
Right? Not really a full 2v1, but it's like they're gonna fight you for sure. They hear you getting zapped. So it's not a completely fail-proof solution. And so the biggest reason as to why I think they have a bunch of Jellyfish is to, you know, half a bunch of boxes are gonna be around them. They can box fight them, and if they get hit for 100, they just pop 5 Jellyfish and continue very, very. That's the main idea. It gives you a free kill. Send out to a more easy hammerable position, right? So like hammering from down there is very awkward, could get caught in a bunch of builds. And so they just make 3 metal boxes out to the side where they have a clear line of sight. So like actually go simple. Thomas is probably just doing the exact same thing, 2 hammers to the same tile.
This video and I was like, Malibuca was like, 1 hammer here, 2 hammer here.
Yeah,
3 hammer here.
yeah. And remember what I mentioned, right? You created this complicated hammer pattern where you hammered 3 times, which is very difficult to follow. But if you look at Malibuca, 2 hammers, that's it, and just chill. Obviously they're front side, so that you really can't do it anymore, right? But it's like, make it as simple and easy as possible for the teammate to follow. And as big as Thomas's brain is, it's like, it doesn't matter. Don't make it complicated for no reason. Low ground is really good, by the way, in the hammer meta. Okay? Do you know why? You know why it's better?
Mid ground, you get broken out every 2 seconds.
Correct. And so you just saw someone get broken out, and the main reason is because playing this lane. Like, you don't need to. Find the empty ground on there. There's a whole bunch of empty ground in moving 1, right? Moving 1 is really empty ground, right? Because of the circle being so big. That's why. And so moving zone 2, same thing. It's still pretty big. And then moving zone 3 is like where you should genuinely start thinking about stop hammering horizontally and start thinking about from all the mats that you saved in moving 1, moving 2 from hammering, and use those mats instead to retake height. And so you're going to use your hammer in a different way in moving 3, 4. You're going to start looking to, how do I take height? That's your main win condition. People are using hammers the wrong way. They're using them to thirst placement. You need to thirst mats. And obviously they're doing that, but then they're continuing to thirst mats in moving 3, moving 4. But in moving 3, moving 4, use all the mats that you saved and try to take height. That's how you should think about it. Really, really good peek. Box. So you asked me this question yesterday, like, how do I find impact more? Let's watch this. It's your ability to quickly and decisively punish someone that's making a mistake on your wall, right? So, and I've said this to your teammate, right? Or like, he wasn't at the call, but I watched his gameplay and I said it to him. It's not that you guys don't have the opportunities that these guys do. If anything, the opportunities that I saw on your teammate was that it was much easier, actually, than the opportunities I'm seeing that Malibuca and Thomas have. It's the fact that Malibuca and Thomas are very aware. They're very perceptive of the area around them. And they're very, very ready to quickly make that box, right? The footstep audio can help this, meaning the visual audio of the footsteps. You can tell whether someone's and in which direction they are. And so, if you look at this, wow, that was crazy, actually. Wait, what? I mean, you saw that little hammer that happened right there, right? That sort of shows that someone's on your wall. Someone's close to you. And so even if that guy didn't luckily get dropped down by someone else spraying the cone, Thomas's plan is very obvious. He sees that hammer on the corner. He sees that someone just arrived. And so he's going to take advantage and try to go after them. Careful with the water in the hammer. You saw what just happened there? It doesn't work easily and can bug out. Someone just landed up top. And so his plan is, I'm going to full box this tile right here, and then either edit, if that's my cone, or spray it out. You can argue that was fortunate, but it's like, he was perceptive enough to go. Okay, so this sort of things happen to you in 3 games as well. It's like, are you going to take advantage of it? Okay, he's going to hammer again. Yeah, their mats is amazing. And it's like, how are they going to use this? I think they're going to use this to go for the win. Get out of here. Needs to face sketch. Left wall's not his. Does he take any fights on the way to Malibuca? No, he's a solo. Try to look for something, impact? No, he's solo. Go for Malibuca. Get regrouped. Every time you split up, focus on regrouping. Don't focus on anything else, especially when you need anything like them. Okay, and moving 3. We're almost in moving 3, right? So this is moving 2.5. is what I would say. And so instead of hammering here, he starts to tarp ahead. And the reason is if you hammer from here, there's a chance you might not land on the hill. You might land here, agreed? It's kind of weird, right? But they tarp ahead because then when they hammer, they want to land on the hill. That's why they want to do it. They kind of tarp ahead here. You see how there's like, they're very forward looking. They're very trying to make sure that their plan is not going to fail. So like if you hammer from here, you're kind of screwed. You will land right here. It's kind of awkward. And so they set themselves up. This is very, very bad. Okay, this is scary. So in order to fix this, by the way, the way I would do it is if someone's spraying you, you have time. There's no rush here. Someone's spraying you, hold the wall, ramp it off so there's double there, and then hammer. So the issue is like when you hammer, you're stuck in animation. So when someone's spraying your wall, you cannot react with the hammer. You should react with the hold for sure. Because like they're probably gonna track you midair. You should try to wait until they have to reload and then go for the hammer in that window of time. But they opt to just go for it anyway. This is very possible that Thomas just gets destroyed here, and then it's one of those things where it's like, oh my god, I died so quick, it can't be my fault. No, it was your fault. You're getting sprayed here. You cannot go for the hammer here. This is wrong. Yeah, like this easily could have been a death. Where he gets very, very scared. He should just opt to heal, but he tries to make some space first because he's very suffocated in that tile. It's kind of awkward. He heals and then tries to get back. A lot of people here would be like, oh, regroup. No, you need to fix your HP because on your way to Malibuca, you might actually die. You have a hammer and you can play as a solo for a little bit, right?
That was me. I would have died.
Yeah, and these guys are good enough to make sure that doesn't happen. You see how he played that? Very cool. Leaves it 1 HP, sees how the enemies react. Understands that they're not aware because you can see the back of their head, right? Through the wall. And when he sees the back of their head through the wall, he's like, okay, this seems to be a safe play to make. If both of them turned around because they realized their wall was getting sprayed, he would not have went for it. Agreed? Because it's very scary to do that when they're looking at you. And so he goes up a layer. You understand why he goes up a layer here, right? Yeah, this is fully taken by an enemy team. So you don't want to play here. Also, the hill is going even slightly more uphill. So this is just a better layer to play. Only thing he has to worry about right immediately this second is someone double spraying. Oh, these guys are very perceptive. They realize there's a solo here. Box this, double spray up, or replace it, right? That's why he makes more space and tries to add one more. He's essentially making the boxes for Thomas HP before he even arrives. Same thing right here. Trying to look for that impact. Leaves it 1 HP. Back of the head. No one's aware here. And so this is why you continue and take that 1v2 because it's not really a 1v2. You need to think of it as a 1v0 because they're not going to shoot you if they're unaware. You're shooting at a literal health bot, a target dummy, right? And so that's how you should think about awareness. He's going to let him leave because again, he had no interest in actually fighting him here. It's not worth it to solo fight. Regroup with Thomas, who has opted to actually hammer head. If this makes sense. It's like you don't need to regroup together. You can regroup because you have hammer. You can like split up for a little bit and then regroup for its front side. It's much better to regroup that way.
Yep.
It's like I would rather you play as a solo and live and at a higher cost than that than you die trying to get to me. And so sometimes you have to take that route. It's not frequently, you know, it doesn't happen that frequently, but it is sometimes the thing that you need to do. They're gonna wait and then hammer. They're looking at height. Why are they looking at height? Remember what I just said earlier?
Because if they're looking to take it.
Correct. Because in moving 1 and moving 2, they had very, very efficient rotates because of the hammer, which is not something that most teams have, including height. Height usually will not have double hammer. I mean, they can, and they can be very efficient with keeping it with the hammer, but still, if you look at height, there's a couple tell signs that you can see. Number 1, they're basing it wood. Number 2, they're getting pressured. And so this is a very, very easy double hammer vertically and take height. Very easy. Very, very easy. One guy fell, one guy's still up top. You should do a retake and take this. He messes up mechanically, boxes his own teammate, takes it. Yep. Oh my god, wow. Yeah, that was beautiful. Go for the Mats. Mats is on second height. Not even on second height. Mats is still on height. This is yours because there's no team above it that can retake height, you know? So, like, this is higher than the second height team. You should take it. If this Mats was here, you should not take it. So he could honestly still go for this, but it's a risky one. So it's up to him whether he wants to do that. So this is not to because, again, do you have the Mats to complete the game? Yes, he does. He has 500 metal. And if you look at his teammate, my game just freeze. I hope it doesn't crash. Oh, no. Thomas is dead. Oh, good point. Let's take a look. Malibuca opts to play really safe because he has everything he needs, right? So let's look at how Thomas died. I don't think there's any reason. Did he die to fall? Or did he die to the... No. This is not good. Thomas should not have worried about that at all. What should Thomas HD should have done? Well, tell me what he should have done here. You tell me.
Shouldn't have hammered in the first place?
No, I think that's okay. I think that's a slight mechanical or execution error. That's like, it's okay, right? Like, yes, he should have hammered straight up so that he's like on height. But he happens to like mess up that a little bit and end up going towards the front side. But I'm saying after that mistake, what should he have done? Exactly. Yes. Should you go for this shot? You can, but don't wait until so long. Like, you need to full box here. You need to play for your safety. Like, is this guy a threat to your height? And do you need the mats?
No.
No, I don't think you need either of those. You need to make sure you're safe. A lot of people get distracted with like, oh, this is a free shot. No, it's not really a free shot. A little bit, but would you agree if he opted on focusing on himself instead of directing his awareness on someone else that doesn't matter, it would have been better? If he full box, he would have noticed the guy in his box. And so it's very easy to be like, oh, this is unfortunate, this is unlucky. And to a little bit of a degree it is, but I think he could have played this better. 100%. I promise you, if you ask him, he'll say this. He'll say this. You should not have focused on this guy. And like, do you need him? No, you don't. You have the match to hold for the rest of the game. This is second last moving and it's almost finished. You're about to enter last moving and Malibuca has 5 in a medal. You need to box up. You need to vertical hammer to regroup with him. Again, priorities, right? This kill is not important. And so you need to focus on getting back up to him. It is the absolute utmost, most important thing. It is your win condition to stay alive. It is your win condition to direct your awareness on you and yourself only. Malibuca can shoot him because he's fine. He's already in the position to chill, right? Malibuca's allowed to shoot at him, but he's in a dangerous position. So his priority needs to be his life, not the guy. And it's like, oh, it's a free shot, but like direct your awareness on everything else. Look everywhere else. Don't focus on the kill because it doesn't matter. And so maybe this stemmed from the fact that maybe Thomas thinks that Malibuca's out of mats, and so he thinks he needs to go for this risk. In that case, it might have been worth it to like direct your attention towards something because you need to take a little bit of a risk to go for that impact. But in this case, if maybe Thomas HD was super aware of the fact that Malibuca literally had 5 in a medal, it would have been better for him to focus all of his awareness on staying alive instead of going for that shot. It's like you have to recognize, like, especially like think about it this way. I'm going to show you like a little bit of like a parallel, okay? Which is the fact that like, let's say if you're like first moving, second moving, you're going for impacts. Okay, let's say you're double boxed up, maybe in this box or something. Let's find a double box, okay? Let's try to find something. This wood box right here. Let's say you're in this double box right here and you open windows right here to like spray back at people. Maybe you need surge, for example, right? You open these double windows to spray back at people. Would you agree it's less likely when you're focused on spraying people that you would notice someone spraying your floor, maybe trying to double spray you down? You're going to be less aware to that fact. Now, would you agree you're more likely to notice it if you're just sitting in the box doing nothing?
Yeah.
And so would you agree a lot of amateur players do this mistake where they have 600 above surge, they're very, very healthy on mats, and they're in the mindset of, hey, I need to grief other people because if I kill people, I get more placement. Like, that's not how you need to think about it. This is a survival game. This is like the Hunger Games. You need to survive. You need to focus on yourself. Focus on keeping yourself alive. Do everything in the power to do that. And sometimes when you're out of mats, the best move is to go for a place where you have more mats so you can survive. It's all in the name of surviving, right? Impacts, believe it or not, at the right time, if you're like under threat of losing mats, is in the name of surviving. You're not doing it for the kill points, right? Of course, if it's like completely free, and again, pros are much better at determining this, which is why when I coach another team that's not as aware, I tell them like, don't go for those kill points in endgame. Like, it's fine. Like, you should focus on placement. And I think you should go for impacts, not kill points. There's a difference. Going for impacts when you need it is very different than going for kill point. ARing a kid across the map who's like over here doesn't net you any mats at all. You can't collect the mats. Whereas if you full box a solo and you 2v1 him, you can collect all his mats. There's a difference, right? And so in this case, if you have max mat, it is 100% better to just sit still and do nothing, because then you're more likely to be aware of something happening to you. Whereas if you're distracted looking somewhere else, you're not likely to be aware. You're going to be tunnel vision. It's the same concept here. You should be focusing on your survival because of the fact that your team is set to win the game. Now, Malibuca can still clutch this, but I promise you the reason why he gets 4th place is because he doesn't have a duo. That is my take. And so I think it's gonna be difficult because in this meta, what ends up happening in the last circle is a bunch of people start double hammering it up, right? They try to retake. And one thing I will say is I believe it's possible to cancel fall damage with the hammer, right? Like if you're up here, it's kind of hard for the team to like hammer and break you up. So he needs to be a little bit higher, I think, potentially. So there's that. Or he can just stay aware and like just make sure that he's not gonna get hammered on. But yeah, he's gonna get hammered on and he's gonna get 2v1 and then he's gonna get 4th place. It's like hard. Yeah, his other teammates coming. If he has that, if that guy has a teammate. Yeah, I love this. I love this from Malibuca. He's staying very high up. It's like you have a failsafe if you get chopped out, which is to connect, obviously. But if you don't have a connect, then you have a hammer. So as you're falling, you do right click and you should be fine. You will be you will get sent into storm. Maybe if you hit the cone at a weird angle, but like it's better than dying to fall. So, and it's better than getting hammered up. So he opts to like be very, very high up, and that is the right play to do. If you're like, let's say there's no one in this box, right? Which is actually not true. But let's say you establish that no one's in this box and you drop till, let's say, like here. Let's say you play on this box right here, like this tile. It's really bad because if they hammer up, they're gonna be above you, and it's like really. But if you're here, literally the only threat of someone hammering up on you is this solo, and that's it. This solo right here. This guy hammering up will not reach you. He will literally not reach you, and so he doesn't have an angle to shoot you midair. He hammers up, chops him out. Look what he does. Hammers and server lag, tries to connect, and he's gonna fall. And now height is lost, and now your win condition is gone. Like the whole idea of like playing height till the end and trying to win off that is just not gonna work because you're all too low. You can't really teleport back up there with the hammer. I mean, the game's just gonna play out, but Malibuca is very much not in control of what happens from here at this point. Like, if you VOD reviewed this as an analyst, you would direct this to like, how did you lose your teammate, and try to fix that the most. Because if you had a duo here, it would have been so easy to win. And I promise you, the games later where they win 2 games this tournament. They do have this, right? They played it properly, or they messed up and then someone solo clutched. It's possible. But yeah, I mean, that's what I think. The VOD is pretty much over here at this point.